The Ippatsu Trap: Why Japan's One-Shot License is an Expat's Nightmare. You've been in Japan for a few months. You've been enjoying the freedom of your international driving permit, but you just glanced at the calendar and realized your IDP is about to expire. You do the responsible thing. You call the license center to book your Gaiman Kirikae, the foreign license conversion, but the voice on the other end gives you the bad news. The next available appointment isn't for another 3 or 4 months. The backlog is massive. Suddenly, you're looking at a winter without a car. You check the driving schools, but many won't even take you if your Japanese isn't near fluent. That's when you hear about it. The Ippatsu Menkyo, the one-shot license. No 3-month wait, just a small fee and a driving test. It sounds like the perfect expat life hack. But before you head to the testing center, you need to know the truth. The Ippatsu isn't just a test of your driving, it's a 95% failure trap designed to break even the most experienced drivers. Here is why the one-shot is the hardest path you can take in Japan. Part 1. The Invisible Wall. For most new residents, the Ippatsu feels like the only choice. If you don't speak Japanese, the driving camps and local schools often shut their doors to you. They don't want the liability. This leaves you standing in front of a police license center, facing an examiner who likely doesn't speak English and has zero interest in making your life easier. In a normal conversion process, the standards are slightly relaxed, but when you sign up for the Ippatsu, you are treated exactly like a Japanese citizen. You are expected to know every unwritten rule, every ritual, and every specific head movement of the Japanese traffic code. You aren't being tested on whether you can get from point A to point B safely. You are being tested on whether you can perform a highly choreographed 15-minute dance in a Toyota Crown. Part 2. The Ritual of the Ghost Cat. Let's talk about the dance. The test begins before you even touch the car. If you walk up to the driver's side door and just open it, you've already lost points. In the Ippatsu, you must perform a full 360-degree walk-around. You aren't just looking for obstacles, you are theatrically checking for children or ghost cats under the chassis. You have to bend down, look under the front bumper, look under the rear, and check all 4 tires. When you finally get to the door, you don't just pull the handle, you check over your shoulder for traffic. You open the door exactly 10 centimeters, pause, check again, and then slide in. Once inside, the cockpit drill is a performance. Adjust the seat, even if it's fine. Touch all 3 mirrors. Fasten the seatbelt so the examiner can hear the click. And then you must offer the ritual greeting, Yoroshiku onegaishimasu. If you forget this, the atmosphere in that car just dropped to sub-zero. The examiner is now looking for a reason to fail you. Part 3. The Left Side Obsession. Now you're moving, but in Japan, moving means something very specific. One of the biggest reasons foreigners fail is the 30-centimeter rule. When you are preparing to turn left, you must close the gap. You need to move your car so close to the left curb, roughly 30 centimeters, that a motorcycle or cyclist can't squeeze past you. If you stay in the middle of the lane like you would in the US or Europe, deduction. If you're 50 centimeters away, deduction. If your tire touches the curb, instant fail. Then there's the point and call culture. Even if you don't have to literally point your finger, your head movements must be exaggerated. When you check a mirror, don't just use your eyes. Turn your entire head 90 degrees. Make it impossible for the examiner to claim you didn't look. In the Ippatsu, if the examiner didn't see you looking, then you didn't look. Part 4. The Maneuvers of Doom. Then you hit the obstacle course, specifically the crank and the S-curve. The crank is a narrow 90-degree zigzag path surrounded by concrete curbs or tall yellow poles. It is just barely wider than the car. The S-curve is a winding snake-like path that requires you to know exactly where your rear tires are at all times. Here's the kicker. If you've been driving for years, you probably rely on feel. In the Ippatsu, feel will get you failed. If you graze a pole, you're done. If you hit the curb and keep moving, you're done. Most people, Japanese and foreigners alike, fail right here.
They realize that driving a modern car on a wide highway is nothing like navigating a sedan through a concrete maze designed by people who hate fun. Part 5. The Veteran Curse. Why do experienced drivers fail more than teenagers? Because of muscle memory. If you drive with one hand, you fail. If you roll through a stop sign at 2 kilometers per hour, you fail. If you don't come to a neck-snapping 3-second complete stop at every line, you fail. The examiners actually dislike smooth drivers. If you look too comfortable, they think you're arrogant or careless. They want to see caution. They want to see you looking terrified of the road. I've met expats who have been driving for 30 years in London or New York who failed the Ippatsu 6 or 7 times. They couldn't unlearn their safe habits to adopt the ritual habits of the Japanese police. Part 6. The Math of Failure. So your IDP is expiring and the Gaiman Kirikae waitlist is 3 months long. Is the Ippatsu really the faster way? Let's do the math. Each attempt at the Ippatsu costs about 5,000 to 10,000 yen, depending on the center. But because the pass rate is so low, most people take at least 5 attempts. Between the travel time to the license center, the half day you have to take off work for each attempt, and the sheer mental toll of being failed by a silent man in a blue uniform, you might end up spending more time than if you had just waited for the conversion appointment. The Ippatsu is designed to funnel people back into the certified driving schools. It's a filter, not a shortcut. Conclusion. The real life hack. If you're a new resident and your license is about to expire, don't panic book the Ippatsu. First, check other license centers. In some prefectures, you can go to a center farther away that has shorter wait times. Second, look for foreigner-friendly driving schools that offer 2-hour brush-up lessons specifically for the test. It might cost you some money, but it will save you weeks in failed attempts. The Ippatsu is a badge of honor if you pass it. It means you've mastered the most pedantic driving system on the planet. But for most of us, it's just a reminder that in Japan, the shortest distance between 2 points isn't a straight line, it's a 30-centimeter gap from the curb.